Please give a very warm welcome to Sarfraz Manzoor. I just wanted to firstly say it's not always muddy in Hay. Sometimes the weather is really nice. I think people have been a bit critical about the weather. This is going to be my 12th year, I think, running that I'm going to go to the festival. And when people ask me why do I go and what is it that makes it such a diaried event that I will cancel everything else and just block that time out, and I've been thinking about this. And I think part of the reason is that when I was growing up, I grew up in a very kind of working class place, a family that didn't have books. The only kind of books we used to read would be the Reader's Digest that I bought from jumble sales and things like that. And being interested in ideas and being interested in politics was a sort of a luxury we couldn't really afford. And so growing up in that community, I kind of did feel a bit of a freak because I kind of had this idea that there was this imagined community out there that was interested in ideas, that was engaged, that wanted to talk about things that were beyond the kind of the small, normal things about family life. And when I go to Hay, what I find is that imagined community that I had in my head becomes real for those 10 days. And it becomes a place that's not just a state of mind, it's also a geographic place. And so it is so democratic that you can just talk to anybody and you'll have an idea that basically that person will be nice and friendly. And you will have an intelligent conversation and you don't have to worry. And that sort of assumed level of trust that you can have with the community to know that everybody is engaged. They may not necessarily agree with everything. They might be skeptical. They might be curious. But they're all engaged, active, and wanting to be stimulated by ideas. I feel like that's what I find so addictive about Hay. And I've been going for 12 years, and there was one particular year which was particularly important. And this is supposed to be an evening of storytelling, so I wanted to just tell you a story, which also happens to be true. I've written it down, and I'm not going to extemporize. It's June 2008, and my life isn't going very well. It's going to be my birthday in a few days, and I'll be turning 37. And this was a time, by the way, when 37 sounded really old. Not only am I going to turn 37, which is bad enough, but to make things even worse, this is going to be my first birthday in 3 years that I'm going to be spending single. I just come out of a 3-year relationship, and my confidence was at an all-time low. I'd managed to persuade one woman to go out with me, and the idea that there would be another just seemed too much to expect. My ex hadn't really helped matters because she had told me that as a dating prospect, I had niche appeal. And looking back, I'm not sure if it was niche or nil, but anyway. And it was in that state of mind, depressed and despondent, that I came to Hay. And it was my 3rd successive year at the festival, and I was there attending as part of the Guardian's media team, and this was back when the Guardian had money. What I loved about Hay was that it was a drug-free way of getting off my head. All you had to do was step inside any of the tents, and you'd be confronted by ideas and stories that transported you out of your daily concerns and allowed you to enter other worlds. Hay was stimulating, and it was diverting, and it was inspiring. And so by the time the festival was over, I was in a rather better mood than when I'd arrived. So I left the festival on the Sunday, got a lift to Hereford train station heading to London. It was a beautiful sunny afternoon, and I remember running along towards the leaving train with my roller luggage, leaping into the nearest carriage and plonking myself down on the closest seat. And it was then that I saw her, sitting opposite me. Sitting opposite me was the most beautiful woman I had ever seen. Why is this still hard to say? She had blonde hair, green eyes, and she was reading a book. She was, truth be told, way out of my league. And so for the first hour or so, I was dutifully mute in the face of such knee-trembling beauty. The plain truth was that I was never usually somebody who had this kind of luck, and I didn't know what to do with it. I'm not the sort of person who chats to strangers ever, and yet something told me that if I didn't at least talk to this woman, I would forever regret it. The question was, what could be the icebreaker? What could be the words that persuade me to would be the words that could persuade her to put down that bloody book and actually talk to me? And then I noticed it, a Cloth Hay Festival book bag. Of course, she'd been at the festival. That fact was critical. It told me firstly that the woman opposite me had brains as well as beauty, but more than that, it meant that we had something in common, and it meant that I had an opening line. So I asked her if she'd been to the festival, and of course she said she had. And before you knew it, I was in an actual conversation with the woman I'd been fantasizing about for the past hour and a half. We talked about hay, we talked about books, we talked about life and family and just about everything. And as the train rumbled towards Paddington, I felt the clock ticking towards the end, and I knew that I didn't want it to end. Now, when it comes to love and dating, I'm somebody who makes a great fifth impression. I was never going to win her over in one afternoon, but I wanted another chance. So from somewhere, I racked up the courage to tell her that I wanted to see her again. I didn't want to be a creep asking for a stranger's phone number. So what I did was I gave her mine. That way, she could contact me, but I would have no way of ever contacting her. And the only way we'd ever be in touch is if she initiated it. And that was how we left it, and the train pulled up at Paddington Station. It was 2 days before she texted me. She said she'd enjoyed the chat and wanted to continue, so we agreed to meet for a date at Tate Modern the following Saturday. That first date took place on June the 7th, 2008, 2 days before my birthday. 2 years, 2 months, and 2 weeks after that first date, we got married. Could you put the photo up? I don't know if you can put a photo up. This is us now, and as you can see, we've been joined by 2 children, 2 human beings who wouldn't exist were it not for that chance meeting on a train. Since that first meeting in 2008, we've returned to Hay every year. At first, just the 2 of us, me and Bridget, and then our daughter Layla, and this month we'll be taking our baby boy Ezra for his first Hay. It's become one of those fixed points in the annual calendar, a chance to be stimulated and inspired, yes, but also to be reminded of the strange combination of fortune and fate that blessed me that sunny Sunday afternoon. So thank you, Peter, thank you, Hay, and thank you for listening.